This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, how to become a recruiting machine in network marketing. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeff Gamble. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Background in traditional business. We own a real estate company. We also own a holistic health company. I am an affiliate marketer and a network marketer and a speaker, trainer, and coach through John Maxwell, actually, if you don't know him. So if you've been discouraged, depressed, frustrated, mad, upset, you want to give up, you want to throw in the towel, you want to quit, what I can say is get through this training. Get through this training. This might be the answer you have been looking for. So let's get right into it. How do you become a recruiting machine? Number one is understand that recruiting is a process. And what do I mean by a process? It's not just one thing. It's not just one video. It's not just one way to say things. It's not just one set of leads. It's a process that you have to understand the process of what you're taking people through and what you're trying to get them to understand. And you have to know exactly what you want them to do. Hey, we've got great products. That's not telling people exactly what you want them to do. We've got a great comp plan. That's not telling people exactly what you want them to do. And if you don't know exactly what you want them to do, let me tell you what you need. You need someone, I don't care if it's a coach, upline, mentor, outside, inside, backwards, somebody who can show you exactly what you're trying to convey to people to get them to want to sign up. That's how it works, right? So number two, do you know why people sign up? This is really important. So I was on the Direct Sales Association's website. So network marketing as an umbrella has the World Federation Direct Sales Association and the Direct Sales Association of the United States. This is a governing kind of like association, I think is what it is. It's an association or an organization that talks about and discusses everything that's going on in the industry. And they did a study. Imagine that. They did a study, and here's what they found out. And this that I closed with this often. And if you don't know this, I would add this to your close once you learn the process. But a third of people actually sign up in network marketing, just over a third. This is the largest third because it's kind of like a third, a third, a third, but there's one that's like 35, 34, and then 32. The 35%, the biggest group, said that they signed up in network marketing for, a lot of people would say the money. Some people would say the time. Some people would say the security. Some people would say helping other people. But none of those are correct. None of those are correct. And if you don't know this, how are you going to sign people up? You're missing over a third of the people. And here's the reason they sign up. It's for the discount. That's right. It's for the discount. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense, because if you look at a lot of companies, there is retail and then there is wholesale. So a third of people, actually a little over a third, 35% of people sign up in network marketing, not for the money, not for the business, not for a plan B, not to build an empire. They're just signing up to get a discount. And not every company offers a discount. I understand that. But that's why a third of people sign up, a little over. The second reason people sign up, I'm like, okay, what do you think the second reason? People are like, it's the money. It's not the money. It's the time. It's not the time. It's the security. It's the ability to have another business. It's none of those. The second reason, which was just a little bit above the third, it's like 34%, was, this is crazy. It was, here's the reason. It was because they wanted a plan B. They just want a backup plan. They're not ready to make money. They're not going to jump in and come to a meeting. They're not going to start telling other people, sending people the video. They're not going to do any of that. They just want a plan B. It's like a security blanket, or, this is the reason we have fire extinguishers, right? We don't want a fire, but just in case one happens, it's good to have a fire extinguisher. Just like security system. We don't want somebody to break into our place, but it just is there just in case. That's the second reason. So here we go. We're already at like 70% of all the people who sign up. Those are the first two reasons. And if you didn't know those, you're missing 70% of the signups. That brings us to a third reason, which is like 31% if you kind of, it was all little percentages, so I'm just like generalizing a little bit here, and rounding. I'm rounding off. The 31 was pretty simple. It was the money. They were like, yeah, I'm interested in making extra money. I'm interested in something on the side. I'm interested in working from home. All of those were kind of lumped together. But if you didn't know that, now you know. Now you have to know how to use that information throughout a presentation to be able to close. And people are like, well, all I do is send people to the video. Great. That's your second mistake you're probably making. First of all, not knowing why people are signing up. And the second thing is if you don't know how to tell people what's going on, your sign up ratio will be very, very low, which is why you're frustrated, which is why you're mad, which is why you're upset, which is why you're not getting to where you want to go. 3, you don't recruit who you want, you recruit who you are. This is called the law of magnetism. John C. Maxwell, I'm a John C. Maxwell coach. He wrote a bunch of books on leadership specifically. And one of the books he wrote was the 21 Laws of Leadership. And in the 21 Laws of Leadership, one of the laws is the law of magnetism. And the law of magnetism says you don't attract who you want. You attract who you are, which is really unfortunate because for me, I was not disciplined. I was not responsible. I was not somebody who would follow through and get stuff done. I am now because I learned all these principles that I needed to know, which is why recruiting is a process. It's not a one-time thing. That's why you might be struggling, is because there's some missing information. You might be running the operation, but there's some missing information along the way that you just don't know. It's not that you can't learn it. It's not that you can't do it. You just don't know it yet. Once you know it, all of a sudden you go out and do the kind of the same activity, even with some of the same people, and all of a sudden it works. Amazing, amazing. But that's why having, there's a saying that I learned in the business a long time ago that said, I would rather be in the wrong business with the right people than in a great business with the wrong people. What does it mean? It means the right people will always teach you how to do it, no matter what the company, no matter what the comp plan, no matter what the product, they will figure it out no matter what. Whereas you could be in the best company in the world with the best product, the best comp plan, but if you're with the wrong people, you're not going to get anywhere. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Seen it over and over again. Okay, number 4. You must build the skill before you will see the success. You must build the skill. What is the skill? The skill is learning how to contact people, what you're saying to them, what you're sending them. You have to learn how that works, what works. Then you're going to have to learn how to take them from contacting them to say, hey, here's what we do. Whether you're using reading a presentation, whether you're pitching over Zoom, whether you get third party involved, whether you put them on a Zoom with somebody else or bring them to an open house, you got to get the information to them. Then at the end of that, you have to ask the question, kind of like the closing questions. If you don't know the closing questions, again, it might be that you're talking to the right people. It might be that you are following the process, but you don't know the closing questions. You don't know how to convert people. And it's something that I had to learn along the way, because I would show the business to people and be like, what do you think? Which is the worst thing you can say. Well, what do you think? Well, I think it was too long. I think that you used the wrong words. I think that this looks like blah, blah, blah. That's the wrong thing to say, but that's what most people say. That's what most people say, especially if you're new, especially if you're inexperienced, and especially if you weren't trained. Now, another thing that doesn't work is trying to slam people in and be like, okay, you have to do this. That's not going to work either. Oh, you'd be so good at this. That's what people trying to convince people. All of a sudden now you're trying to convince people. Oh, you'd be so good at this. You know so many people. You're a pastor of a church. You're a teacher. You're a coach. You're a police officer. You're a this, and you'd be so good at this. And you could get the congregation together and take all their money. That's not why they're in business. That's not why they got in what they're doing, is to take advantage of the people that they're trying to help. That's not what they're trying to do. And not that network marketing is taking advantage either, but sometimes people pitch it like that when they're new because they just don't know. So you have to learn this skill set of taking people through this process. Now, you can take people through the process in one day. I've recruited people that I don't know, met them. I've met them in Panera Bread. I've met them in Starbucks. I've met them at grocery stores and gas stations. And I'm not really big at third part, like 3-foot rule, like meeting people out, but I've done it. I've done it. It's happened. But I've recruited tons of leads. The very first day I talked to them, the very first day they're in. Now, it doesn't mean because it was quick, they're going to do something. You got to bring in a lot of people before you get anybody to do something. But if you want to be a recruiting machine, you have to learn that process, right? And that's what we're talking about. Okay, so 4, you got to learn the skills. 8, what skills do you have to learn? You got to learn the 8-step pattern. There's an 8-step pattern of success. I learned it. It pretty much is the same in every company I've ever been in. It's kind of a similar 8 steps. It's just sometimes in different orders. I believe I learned from, well, I did. I learned from one of the best guys in the world who built the largest network marketing. Like, he might not have made the, well, he has made the most money ever, but he might not have done it the fastest, right? But he built the largest. Give you his name. It's Dexter Yeager. Go look that one up. Dexter Yeager. Go look up Dexter Yeager and go to workfromhome.org. Workfromhome.org? My business from home. It's businessfromhome.org. Businessfromhome.org. And look up the highest earner of all time. It's the Yeager family or the Yeager group, which is this guy Dexter that I learned from. And I want to say he's approaching $500 million, $500 million, $500 million in commissions. He taught this 8 steps. And his business was around the world. He had over 1,000 people on his team who had made $1 million. 1,000, over 1,000. So, I mean, he did it. I mean, he started in 1964. He died several years ago, but I mean, he was in the business building for 40 years plus. So you got to learn the 8-step pattern. If you don't know the 8-step pattern, text me and I'll send it to you. So that leads us to our last thing, which is if you got some value out of this, if you're like, wow, there's some things I don't know, there's some things I need to know, there's some stuff that you just told me that I would love to integrate. Here's what my suggestion is: join our community. Join our community. My Leadership Network is a leadership community on coaching and certification. We do coaching and we do certifications. What do we certify people in? We certify people in recruiting, we certify people in team building, we certify people in event building, and we certify people in growth and achievement. So if you're looking to get some specific knowledge in any of those areas, go to joinmyleadershipnetwork.com. Go to that website, watch the video, click the join now button, come into the community. If you decide you're going to buy something, buy something. If you decide you're just going to come into the community and learn, that's fine too. So with that, the best trained team always wins. So let's lock arms. Let's go out and achieve some goals and dreams. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.